This team knocked out Borussia Dortmund, Manchester City. They finished top of their group in the Champions League.
What is that? What the f*** is that?
And not only that, this team also finished first in Ligue 1, 8 points clear of PSG, who are absolutely loaded by the way. And that's why the 16-17 season was an unbelievable season for AS Monaco. And also they managed to get to the semi-finals of the Champions League. And the breakout star of this particular team now is the most valuable player in the entire world. And AS Monaco sold this entire team for £400 million, and I can tell you that they made a big profit on this team. And this summer, Djibril Sidibé was the last player to leave AS Monaco from that team. So now that all of the players have left AS Monaco, it's time to look at where they are right now. And before we start, welcome to HITC Football. My name is Nuri and I'm not going to keep you guys waiting any longer. Let's get right into the video. Starting off in goal, as we always do, with the Croatian goalkeeper Daniel Subasic. And I don't know, can we call this guy a club legend? I think so. Because in total, this guy spent 9 seasons with AS Monaco in between the sticks. And Subasic was even there when AS Monaco were still in the second division. And only 4 years later, Subasic was still the main goalkeeper for AS Monaco when they won the Ligue 1 title and reached the semi-finals of the Champions League. And in the 16-17 season, AS Monaco only conceded 31 goals, and with 17 clean sheets, Subasic was a big role in that. Subasic remained the first goalkeeper for AS Monaco until the 17-18 season, and in the 2 seasons after that, he saw his game time decrease every single season. That's why in 2021 he went back to his boyhood club in Croatia, HITC Split, and he's still there until this day. And at 37 years of age, unfortunately for Subasic, over in Croatia, he is also not the first goalkeeper anymore. He only played 6 times this season. But I'm sure that with his experience, he can be very valuable for any team. Moving on to the first defender, and this guy actually gave me the idea to make this video. His contract with AS Monaco recently expired, and that means that he was the last player to play in the 16-17 season that left the club. So you can definitely say that Sidibé officially concluded the end of an era. Djibril Sidibé made his French top flight debut in 2012, but as recently as the 14-15 season, he still occasionally played the game in the third tier of French football. So in 2016-17, when he reached the semi-finals of the Champions League and he became Ligue 1 champions, things were very different for Sidibé. After the 16-17 season, Sidibé stayed at AS Monaco for 2 more seasons before he was loaned out to Everton. And after a decent spell with Everton, he returned for 2 more seasons at AS Monaco. But now the 29-year-old is not a regular starter anymore for AS Monaco, and that's why they let his contract run out this summer. And especially this season, Sidibé only played 28% of the available minutes, so it's probably better for him if he looks for another club. Not that he has a different option since he's literally a free agent now, but you understand what I mean, right? Our first centre back is a player that we're more used to seeing in midfield. But at AS Monaco, Fabinho also wasn't unfamiliar with the centre back position. And okay, Fabinho really isn't the centre back, but believe me, you want to see the other midfielders in this team. So in order to fit all of them in, we put Fabinho in centre back. In 2013, Fabinho was on loan at Real Madrid, where he actually played 1 game for the first team. Fabinho couldn't really impress at Real Madrid, so they sent him back to Rio Ave, his team in Portugal at the time. But shortly after, AS Monaco were willing to take a punt on the player, initially signing him on loan before giving him a permanent deal. And after the amazing 16-17 season, Fabinho stayed for 1 more year before moving to Liverpool. In 2018, Liverpool forked out a hefty fee of 45 million for the player, and based on this season, this was totally worth it. Because this season, Fabinho was absolutely unbelievable for Liverpool in their title challenge, in their Champions League road to the final, and he scored 5 goals and gave 1 assist in 29 Premier League appearances, which is pretty decent for a defensive midfielder. And before we move on, let me know in the comments down below if you know exactly how many career goals Fabinho has scored. And if you don't know, don't look it up, make an estimate, and I can tell you one thing, I think that it's quite a lot of goals for a defensive midfielder. And while you're at it, be sure to like the video, and if you're not subscribed yet and you want to see more videos like this, consider subscribing as well. Moving on to the second centre back, and I'm obviously talking about Polish defender Kamil Glik. After playing in Italy with Torino for a few seasons, the 16-17 season was also the first in an AS Monaco shirt for Kamil Glik. Not a bad campaign to start with a new club. And Kamil Glik was absolutely fantastic in that defense, even chipping in with 8 goals in the entire season. From centre back, that's quite outrageous. But after the 16-17 season, many people expected him to make a big money move like all the other players in this team. But strangely enough, this didn't happen, and the 3 seasons after the 16-17 season, Kamil Glik was still an AS Monaco player. Inevitably, AS Monaco dropped off, and in the 2020-21 season, Glik went back to Italy where he joined Benevento in Serie A. And playing Serie A football only lasted for one season because Benevento immediately got demoted to the second tier. And right now, Glik is still playing second tier football over in Italy with Benevento, and this season he only played 50% of the available minutes. So it's safe to say that the big money move didn't happen for Glik, and at 34 years of age, I think that his opportunity passed. And the last defender and left back of this team is Benjamin Mendy. And to be fair, I don't feel like spending a lot of time talking about this player. And we all know why. But we obviously have to mention him since he was in this team, but let's just move on. And now it's time to move on to the fun part of this video, because the midfield and the attack of this team is absolutely ridiculous. And we're starting off with the engine of this team, the Portuguese midfielder Joao Moutinho. Moutinho joined Monaco in 2013 after playing his entire career over in Portugal. And following their takeover and promotion to Ligue 1, Moutinho was one of the first big money signings that the club made. Because in 2013 it was announced that AS Monaco signed James Rodriguez and Joao Moutinho for a combined fee of 70 million euros. Joao Moutinho was so important for AS Monaco in the 16-17 season, and over at Wolves sometimes he also showed his absolute class. And like I said, Joao Moutinho eventually departed AS Monaco. He stayed for one more year after the 16-17 season before going to England and Wolves. And at 35 years of age and after spending 4 years with the Wolves, it looks like Moutinho will leave England because at the end of this month his contract will expire with the club. And the next player also joined the Premier League, but this one went for a little bit more money than Joao Moutinho. I'm obviously talking about Bakayoko, who seemed absolutely unbeatable at AS Monaco. In the 16-17 season, Bakayoko played 51 games and he looked like the perfect defensive midfielder. And that's why many European giants wanted to sign the player, but in the end Chelsea had to fork out £40 million to sign Bakayoko. And in the end Chelsea lost a lot of money on this player because this move was not worth it. When he played for Chelsea he wasn't great, so Chelsea loaned him out a couple of times, and if you look at his current transfer value right now, things didn't really work out. After his one season in the Premier League, Bakayoko went out on loan to AC Milan, then he went back to AS Monaco, also on loan, then he went back to Serie A with Napoli, and last season, again, he was loaned out to AC Milan. He didn't play a lot of games last season, but he still won the Scudetto with the team, so that's pretty positive. But Bakayoko definitely didn't reach the heights that were expected from him in 2016-17. And the attacking midfielder of this team was Thomas Lemar. Lemar was also one of the players in this team that caught the eye of all the European giants. And in the 16-17 season, Lemar was truly something else, because he scored 14 times in the entire campaign, and that was by far the best season of his entire career. And no wonder that after one more year with AS Monaco, Atletico Madrid forked out a massive £53 million for the player. And Arsenal were also in the race for the player, but they eventually backed out. And in hindsight, Arsenal probably dodged a bullet on this one. Because in 4 seasons over in Spain, Lemar only scored 9 times. This season, he only played just over 40% of the available minutes, which is not good enough for a player of his price tag. Let's move on to the attack, and things are getting spicy here. Let's start with Bernardo Silva, who had an unbelievable season in the 16-17 season, and immediately after thought, guys, it's time to leave. And good for him though, because after joining Manchester City for a fee of £43 million, he won a lot of titles. It's safe to say that he wouldn't have won his 4 league titles over at AS Monaco. But he did win the one though with AS Monaco in his last season, where he scored 11 goals and provided 12 assists. And after 4 years, 147 games and 28 goals, Bernardo joined Manchester City. And in 5 seasons with the club, Bernardo Silva is now a key player for Guardiola. This move definitely worked out. Moving on to the striker of this team, and this player is truly special, because this guy went from one of the best strikers in the world to one of the worst, back to one of the best again. This guy was probably one of the most clinical strikers I have ever seen. Over at Porto, he scored 72 times in 87 games, and in 2 seasons with Atletico Madrid, he scored 70 times in 91 games. And after his big money move to AS Monaco, he was on track to do the same thing for the club. In his first season, he scored 11 times in 19 games before a long-term injury kept him out for the rest of the season. And that's why he also didn't play in the 2014 World Cup. So the 2 seasons after, AS Monaco loaned him out to Manchester United and Chelsea, where he only scored 5 goals in 41 appearances. So at the time, it looked like Falcao truly lost his goal scoring ways. But in the 16-17 season, Falcao truly returned back to fitness, and he became one of the most clinical finishers in the entire world again. That season, Falcao was AS Monaco's top scorer, scoring 30 times in 43 games. Falcao stayed at AS Monaco for 2 more years, scoring 40 more goals before finally leaving the club for Galatasaray. And his time over in Turkey was pretty decent. He scored 20 times in 43 games, but last season season he played at Rayo Vallecano. But after a great start over in Spain, where he was briefly even the top scorer of the league, things started to slow down for Falcao and he ended up with 6 goals in 25 games. But with over 300 goals in 543 appearances, we can say that Falcao had an unbelievable career in the sport. And definitely we saved the best for last, because we're moving on to the player that you've all been waiting for. Kilian Mbappe truly had his breakout campaign in the 16-17 season, scoring 26 times in 44 games. And it's even more special if you realize that for half of the season he was only 17 years old. And during the 16-17 campaign it was clear for the entire world that Kilian Mbappe was going to be a very special player. And that's why PSG immediately capitalized on the opportunity, paying £166 million for the player. In 5 years Mbappe scored 171 times in 217 games, which is a truly amazing goal scoring record, especially for a 23-year-old. Over at PSG, Mbappe won the league 4 times, he also won the French Cup 4 times, and he even reached a Champions League final. And it's pretty well documented that Mbappe rejected Real Madrid in order to sign a 3-year contract extension with PSG. And if you want to know more about Mbappe's unbelievable contract, you can watch a video I made right here. So guys, that's the video done and dusted. Let me know in the comments down below what other team you want to see me make a video on. And while you're at it, also let me know if you still remember the scoreline from the game that AS Monaco played against Manchester City. But anyways guys, be sure to like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace.